30 miles east of Cairo, in Egypt in the middle of the desert, something astronomically weird is happening. If you look at a satellite map from 10 years ago, there was nothing here, just sand, rocks, and maybe a bunch of scorpions. But today, if you look at the same spot, you'll see a skyline that looks like it was copied and pasted from a science fiction movie. Right there is a skyscraper taller than the Eiffel Tower, and this is a massive cathedral in the middle of the city. A theme park 4 times the size of Disneyland, and a defense ministry building called the Octagon because apparently the Pentagon wasn't cool enough. This is Egypt's new administrative capital. Wait, no. New administrative capital, because that's literally the name, and they haven't even bothered to give it a cool name yet. It's a project so massive it makes the pyramids at Giza look like a Kinderjaw DIY project. And how much it costs? Yeah, $58 billion. The official reason for building it is apparently to save the economy and create a smart city for the future. I mean, isn't that what they all say? But if you drive around in this new administrative capital today, you'll notice something strange. The lights are on, the fountains are running, the grass that we all need to touch is green. But there's almost nobody there. Even the stock footage of the city looks pretty much empty, and the reason for this might just be the most expensive rage quit in history. You see, to understand why someone would spend $58 billion to move to the desert, first have to look at what they're running away from. Cairo. For 1,000 years, Cairo has been one of the most significant cities of the Arab world. It's historic, it's beautiful, but right now it's completely unlivable. Imagine a city designed for 4 million people, and I try to force 22 million people into it. That is the Cairo we're talking about today. It is one of the most densely populated spots on Earth. The traffic is so bad that commuters spend an average of 4 full days a year sitting in gridlock. The air quality is so toxic that breathing it for a day is the equivalent of smoking a pack of cigarettes. Yeah, that's pretty bad. It is a city that is literally choking to death. The government looked at this mess and realized they had a problem. The infrastructure is crumbling. The sewers are ancient, the roads are a parking lot. Fixing Cairo would be a nightmare. You'd have to demolish thousands of buildings, displace millions of people, and spend decades upgrading the grid. So, President Sisi looked at the map, looked at the empty desert 30 miles to the right and said, screw it, let's just buy a new one. It's a geopolitical equivalent of your room getting too messy, so instead of cleaning it, you just buy a new house, because why not? This is the brand new administrative capital, which I will be calling NEC throughout the video because I'm annoyed at the fact that they haven't even given it a cool name. Jeez, didn't even bother to look at the hieroglyph for inspiration. Anyways, the NEC on paper looks impressive. They're promising a city of 6.5 million people with zero traffic, smart traffic light, and cameras on every corner that use AI to monitor crowds. They're building a park called the Green River that is twice the size of Central Park in New York City, flowing through the middle of the desert. They built the iconic tower, which is the tallest building in Africa as of now, and also an opera house, port city, and a monorail to enable travel back and forth. All of this just feels like someone triggered the infinite money glitch in SimCity. But this is also where the story surrounding the city gets a bit fishy. I mean, who is this city even for? The average salary in Egypt is roughly $300 a month. An apartment in this new capital costs about $50,000 for a small 2-bedroom unit. That is 14 years of salary for the average Egyptian. Oh. So, the 22 million people choking in Cairo? They aren't moving here. They can't afford the ticket. This isn't really a solution to overpopulation, it's a solution to rich people having to look at poor people. It's basically a gated community the size of Singapore. This is where we address the elephant in the room, or rather the $58 billion elephant. Egypt does not have this kind of money. In fact, the Egyptian economy has been in free fall for years. Inflation is crushing the middle class. The currency has lost half its value in a single year. So, how do you pay for a megacity when you can barely afford to import wheat? You borrow it. A huge chunk of the financing is coming from China. The iconic tower is built by a Chinese state construction firm. The business district is also funded by Chinese loans. To people, it looks like Egypt is basically selling its future to pay for glass towers in sand. The government has a clever trick. They claim the city won't cost the taxpayers a single penny. And as ridiculous as it sounds, their plan is to make the military a real estate agent. The military owns the land. They form a company, build the infrastructure, and then sell the land to developers at a massive markup. The logic is, we build it, the value goes up, we sell it, and we profit. It's the same landfill strategy that Dubai used, the same strategy China used, which I will be making a video on soon. But there is a flaw in this plan. It only works if people actually buy the land. And right now, foreign investors are nervous. SoftBank pulled out of the Indonesian capital, which was marketed very similarly by the way. And investors are looking at Egypt's inflation rate and sweating. If nobody buys luxury apartments, the military is left holding a massive bag of debt. And guess who has to pay that money off eventually? The taxpayer. But if you think this is just about money or traffic, you're missing the point. There is obviously a darker reason why the government wants to leave Cairo. Security. Remember the Arab Spring? Millions of Egyptians flooded Tahrir Square in downtown. They paralyzed the city, surrounded the government buildings, and eventually they toppled the regime. The geography of Cairo favors those who protest. It's dense, it's chaotic, and the government buildings are right in the middle of the people. The new capital changes this entirely. Look at the design. The government ministries are grouped together in a secure district. The presidential palace is isolated and massive. The Octagon Defense Ministry is practically a fortress, and the whole city is 30 miles away from the main population. You can't just march to the new capital. You have to take a highway that can be easily blocked by a few tanks. The streets are wide, perfect for armored vehicles, terrible for barricades. The 6,000 surveillance cameras, and usually high even for interstate highways in the States, suspiciously look like they aren't just for traffic. And just so you know, the creation of Versailles, 2 miles from Paris, was one of the factors leading to the French Revolution. It isolated the king from the people, so he had no idea what was really happening in Paris. Ignoring the peasants has always been risky, and that's why this looks more like a bunker than a new capital city. A bunker for the government, the military generals, and the wealthy businessmen. If Cairo collapses into chaos again, they can just pull up the curtain, turn on the AC, and watch it on their 8K screen from the safety of the Octagon, because they don't have the problem of information and communication that the French monarch did during the French Revolution. The Egyptian government literally calls this the birth of a new republic, and in a way they are right. They're building a republic where the government and the people live in 2 completely different worlds. And to be fair, NAC looks promising, with the flying taxis and mega projects so big, they put the Death Star to shame on their advertisement campaigns. The other side though, dusty, crowded, and loud, a place where millions of people are fighting just to afford bread. Historically, capitals were built where the people were. They grew organically around rivers, trade routes, and markets. Building it in a location the Egyptians did is a pretty risky move. The NSC will probably get finished. The towers are already there, lights are on, but a city without people isn't really a city. It's just a very expensive movie set. And for the millions of Egyptians left in Cairo, it sends a very clear message. The Big Brother, or the NSC in this case, is always watching. Thank you for sticking to the end. Check out my video in Dubai.